Welcome back to the Content Playbook. I'm your host, Riso2, here to help you transform your creative journey. Today, we're diving into a topic that's at the heart of music culture, the world of DJing and radio. Whether you're an aspiring DJ, a radio enthusiast, or just curious about how these mediums shape music content, this episode is for you. We'll explore the art of DJing, the evolution of radio, and I'll share some tips for those of you seeking to break into those fields. So, let's get started. The art of DJing. DJing is more than just playing records. It's an art form, a skill, and a passion that has shaped music culture for decades. Let's take a quick trip back in time. The roots of DJing can be traced back to the early days of hip hop in the 1970s, where pioneers like Kool Herc would use turntables to create sounds by mixing and scratching records. This laid the foundations for what would become a global phenomenon. Fast forward to today, and DJing has evolved significantly. From vinyl records to digital setups, the tools may have changed, but the essence remains the same, created and experienced through music. DJs are the curators of sound, selecting tracks that not only keep the crowd moving, but also introduce listeners to new music. But it's not about playing songs. DJs have the power to set the mood, tell a story, and connect with the audience on a deeper level. Whether it's through a live performance at a club, a carefully crafted mix on a streaming platform, or a collaborative project with other artists, DJs are at the forefront of music content creation. And let's not forget the creativity involved. Remixing, mashup, and live performances require a keen ear and a deep understanding of music. It's about knowing how to blend different sounds seamlessly, creating something new and exciting every time. The power of radio. Now, let's shift gears and talk about radio. For decades, radio has been a cornerstone of the music industry. Days before of the over. The power of radio. Now, let's shift gears and talk about radio. For decades, radio has been a cornerstone of the music industry. Before the days of streaming services and playlists at our fingertips, radio was the primary way people discovered new music. It was, and still is, where listeners can connect with DJs who served as guides through the vast world of music. Radio has evolved just like DJing. Traditional AM/FM stations have been joined by internet radio, podcasts, streaming platforms. But the essence of radio, storytelling through music, remains unchanged. DJs create a narrative, whether it's through a themed playlist, a story that ties songs together, or interviews with artists that give listeners a deeper understanding of the music. One of the most beautiful aspects of the radio is the connection it fosters with the community. Local radio stations, in particular, play a crucial role in supporting indie artists and giving a voice to those who might not have a platform otherwise. It's about more than just playing the hits. It's about bringing people together through a shared love of music. In today's digital age, radio has found a new life online with podcasts and internet radio stations reaching global audiences. But at its core, radio remains a powerful medium for music content creation, one that allows DJs and hosts to craft experiences that resonate with their listeners. I'm excited to introduce today's special guests. They have been making waves in their industry, so let's get right into it. All right, welcome back to the Content Playbook, the podcast where we dive into different diverse fields of podcast content creations. I have here with us our next guest. If you would be able to introduce yourself and tell us about the content you create.
Yeah, hi. My name is Freedom Rivers. I'm a Cincinnati local DJ and content creator. I would say I'm really just an artist but I'm looking for radio work lately.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on to the show. Do
Yeah.
appreciate that. All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in content creation?
Yeah, so long story short, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, where content creation is not a job, quote unquote. Um, but it's always been something that's interested me. Like growing up, I would be on YouTube and just looking at what other people would make. And, since then, I've grown to not only just enjoy watching this content, but also creating it. Um, a lot of video editing is what really started it. When I started going to OMS, I just edited everything. That was just kind of our thing, and that's what I have latched onto the most. But when it comes to being an actual content creator, I don't know how much of a like personality I am, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I'm
Ah,
definitely an
definitely easy.
artist.
Yeah, you mean, but you always put yourself into whatever you create. So, all
Exactly, yes.
right. So, what inspired you to do this particular content?
So honestly, it's my mom. Like growing up, she would always tell me stories about how she used to be a DJ for a radio station, and that was just something I was always interested in. And then I found out that being a disc jockey is more than just radio. It's clubbing, parties, just like weddings, everything. It's just a whole lot of fun, and you get to watch other people have fun. And so that's what I love seeing other people be happy, and that's why I make content.
Oh, that's good. I didn't. So your mom DJ? Did she DJ for a long time?
No, it wasn't a very long time, but while she was in college, she DJ'd at the local radio station.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's good. So let's talk about your creative process. How do you come up with new content ideas?
honestly, like I just start like in my own time, I just start playing around with whatever I can. Like when it comes to like making a radio show, I'll just like scroll through the internet, find something I really like, and then study it, research it, and produce something to talk about. And then I'll also throw together my whole list of songs and just do it. That's the best way I can explain it, because that's what most of what I do is that radio work. So,
So, like, what type of radio shows do you like to?
like, honestly, I don't think I have really a specific genre of radio show yet, but it's mostly just talking about like random stories going on in Cincinnati. Like, I did so a couple months ago, I did a show where it was about the cocaine cat of Cincinnati that got out of somebody's house and was just strolling through Clifton, just doing its thing. It's like that kind of
Cocaine Cat.
stuff. It's just odd, and I like it.
That's hey, but if it works,
It works.
that's that's the big thing. So, you kind of talked about it a little bit. Can you walk us through your typical content creation from beginning to finish?
So yeah, let's see. First thing I always do is I get that set list together. I make sure I know what I want to play and go ahead and figure out what order, because it can be very tedious, but it's very good to be able to make a whole list of songs just flow together. Because if it
Mhm.
doesn't flow, then people aren't gonna like keep listening to it. That's just
Right.
how most people are. But then after I get all that together, that's when I go into that like finding a story type process, if that makes sense. And so I find my story, write it up how I want to, how I would like to like. I try to make it a little bit nicer than what I find online, make it a little bit funny, but then yeah, after that I'll sit down, record it, and I try to just like record it live even though I'm not actually on the air, but I'll go ahead and do it just all the way through. And then when I'm done, I'll have that like entire audio. Normally it's about an hour, sometimes it's like 2 hours long. It just depends on how I'm feeling. But then I'll just edit it like I really don't edit it a lot, but I mostly just put it into video form, if that makes sense. And then I'd say that's like my whole process, at least right now.
Okay. So I'm interested to see the stuff that you have done.
Yeah.
that a little bit later. So what tools or resources do you find indispensable when doing your content creation?
Oh, my board. Like I got a mixing board back in, I want to say it was like March for all of my DJing stuff. And it's just very, it has a lot of capabilities. So everything that I would do for my radio show, I could still use the board. It still has all of those same controls. So I don't have to get another set of equipment to do that same thing, if that makes sense. And then a microphone. You have to have a microphone.
Mm,
Because, like,
definitely.
there's no story if I can't talk. There's,
Oh, right.
so, yeah.
All right. So, for inspiring content creators who want to do something like what you do, what advice would you give them for just starting out?
I know, like, if I had to look at myself 8 months ago, I would probably say, just calm down, just breathe. We're gonna get you a schedule together, and I believe in you. Like, it's not, I think just the entertainment industry in general can be very overwhelming, especially for people like me who have anxiety. Um, but if you just take a moment and think about your content like in a more logical way, like keep the art in there, but when it comes to
Hmm.
making it, keep it very logical. I think that helps so much.
Right.
It's like I'm not sure how much of that makes sense to you, but
No, definitely. One of my I have a little bit of anxiety too. I don't typically like being on camera.
I do
Um,
not
I, s-
either.
I like I've said this before. It's like I like to be behind the scenes. I'm a behind the scenes person. So all the you know video editing, doing the other content that's behind the scenes, doing the lot like running the live stream. That's what
Hmm.
I'm comfortable with. I
Hmm.
don't like being on camera, but once again, it's like you gotta
You gotta
put
do what
yourself
you
out
gotta
there,
do. Yeah.
right?
See, and that's why I like radio work because I'm behind a microphone the entire time. So,
See, and that's the thing too. It's like I don't like my voice sometimes, so I don't typically go back and listen to what
hmm
I've recorded as far as audio.
hmm
But as far as being at Ohio Media School, it's taught me like people say like you got a nice voice, but it's forced me to listen to myself because I
yes.
have to go back and like edit out like when we had to edit out breaths when we did the
Yep.
like commercials and stuff. So it's like okay, so I have to listen to myself now.
No, I totally understand. Like when I started doing it, and even now, it's like that first couple listens, I'm just kind of cringing at myself. Then you just keep listening over and over and over again, and it doesn't even sound like your voice anymore.
Right, and I kind of changed mine up when I did like I did certain projects. Like I
Hmm.
changed my voice up to sound a little bit different, and people are like, "You have a great voice. Like you could do, you can be on radio."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like that's my. I like if I get on radio, I'm fine. I can be that. I can do that.
Yes. Yes, most definitely. We're gonna have to get you in Cincy Underground before you leave.
I've talked to the instructor about that, so we
Hmm.
got to just set up a time where I can come in.
Yeah. Shout
As
out to Cincy Underground, cincyunderground.com. Live, local, and lit.
lit. All right. Nice plug. Nice plug.
Hey, I couldn't help myself. I had to.
So let's talk about some challenges
All right.
and solutions. What were your biggest challenges you faced starting off as a creator?
I'd say starting off, my biggest thing is consistency because I think it's very easy to set up that schedule, but actually committing to it and being able to produce that content on a regularly scheduled like thing, it's hard. That's where it goes
Hmm.
from, oh, this is actually something I need to focus on, if that makes
Right.
sense. But no, I would say like that was my biggest challenge, and then probably just doing the whole face-to-face part. Because like
Mm.
we've said, we're not really on the camera kind of people, but for me, I feel like that also applies to like networking with other people as well. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. It's like when I Black Tech Week last
Hmm.
month. I it's like I'm nervous, like I'm getting footage, but I'm like nervous, like talk to people because I don't talk. I don't really talk
Yeah.
to like people, go up to people, but I was able to do that when I did the rap versus AI. And
Mhm.
we had two of our instructors go back to back, one representing AI, then one representing human.
Mhm.
So it was like at the end I interviewed the two people that founded
Yeah.
rap versus AI. So it was nice to actually, even I was still behind the camera, but still I have to
Mhm.
talk to them, ask the questions of how they
Yes.
felt versus last year when they were here to this year when they were here.
Mhm.
So
No, I
it's
totally
definitely a
relate.
thing.
The couple times I've been out doing like photo shoots, like actual photo shoots, like I've gone to a fashion show once, and I've gone to a couple of like, I guess, talent showcase events is the best way I could explain it. But I'm just behind the camera, and most people will actually come up to me for me to take their picture, which I think is so interesting because I'm not one of those people.
Right, right. Like somebody asked me actually do that at Black Tech Week. They said, "Oh, can you take our picture?" I was like, "Oh, okay," because I had a camera in my hand.
Yes, it's
So
like, yes,
I've,
I
or,
will.
but, but they gave me their phone, but I was like, and they loved the picture that I took of them with the phone because I mean, this is what I'm getting into. This is what I do. So it's like it's nice to be appreciated for where people coming up to you asking you to
Yes,
do what you want to do.
yes, I agree.
So, can you name a specific example of a challenge that you faced and overcame?
And overcame. Let's see. Ooh, I wish I had like 5 more minutes to think about this, but we got this. We got. Um, I'd say specifically with content creation would probably be like the most specific thing I can think of is like when I first started getting into the industry and learning about all of this, especially during like audio editing. I just spent way too long on everything. I was just taking like as much time as I could, but like that's just not how this industry is. Like you have to work fast or you're just going to be left behind. So
Right,
since like since I started going to OMS and not really understanding exactly what I'm doing and taking all of this time, our one of our IAs, he just came over and started helping me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can just ask for help and I will get it.
right.
Like, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because we either just don't think about asking for help or we don't want to ask for help. So,
Yeah, it's a definite. It's great. Like when we do the review for the week
mm,
about the
hmm,
instructors,
yes,
it's always helpful. Somebody's always willing to help. It's
yes,
not like one of those classes like, well, no, you have to figure it out on your own, or they tell you like a tidbit and then you have to figure out the rest. No, they'll
yeah,
help you through the whole process.
yes,
Really great. So and it helps a lot that like because there's certain things that I didn't know going in. Like there's
hmm,
things I knew and things I didn't know,
yes,
and like even with the things that I knew, it was like, oh, well, you can also do this and I didn't know that. I've been working with this stuff for so long and I didn't know how to do this.
yeah.
So it's a great connection piece.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the only like platform that I've used for any kind of creation that I used before going to OMS was Canva. I will stand by Canva. It is amazing. Sorry.
No, I love using
But
Canva. I use it. I get an idea, then make it my own. So
yes,
it's very
yes.
useful. Like the one of the things I only knew was I knew Canva. So I was using it actually for my church. Then I used it for Adobe Premiere because I used that for some of my video editing beforehand, and that's about it. so,
Hey,
it's
that's
like
one
I
more
knew.
than me.
I knew those programs, and I was like, okay, it's like what else can I learn? What other programs can I
Yeah.
use to advance myself? Going to OMS really helped.
Yes, agreed.
So let's see what how important is it you think to find your unique voice when doing your content and develop it?
I don't know. I think just being unique is what draws an audience. Because a lot of people don't like watching these cookie cutter content creators because there's a ton of them. They just kind of
Mhm.
copy each other. So being able to find your individuality is, I think, is very important. And I know that I'm a unique person, but I have a hard time like expressing that. If I don't know if that makes sense,
Mhm.
but a lot of the time I just like I know if I do what I want, people will like it. I don't need to go out there and fetch, like try to get their attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's once again goes back as it because when I started doing like this particular podcast, it was like, what do I see? What can I do that's different from what everybody else
Hmm.
does? And sometimes it can be hard, but sometimes it can be easy. But like you said, if people like what you're doing, like what you're saying, they're gonna watch, they're gonna listen,
Yep, and they'll stick around.
right? They'll want more.
Yes.
All right. So, any upcoming projects that you have that you're most excited about?
Well, I am currently working on a project coming up with one of my classmates. It's called Batty Talk. It's going to be a podcast, and we're going to start, I believe we're starting to shoot and upload in mid-September. So look out for that.
Well, yep, I actually had her on my podcast, so
Oh
I
my
know who you're
gosh,
talking about.
I love
So
it.
yeah, so that's why I was like, so I'm gonna have to really get her back on when she starts doing hers.
Yes.
So
Oh,
get that all together.
I hate to interrupt you, but we have a visitor. It's my cat.
That's okay.
I don't think she's interested in our
She doesn't want to
little
be on. It's
moment.
okay. One of my previous guests, they had their cat decided they want to be on camera.
Oh, there she is. Oh, all
It's
right.
okay. Special
It's
guests.
okay. Oh, no, this right here, she's my biggest supporter.
Hey, somebody has to be.
Yes.
All right. So some final thoughts. Where can people find your work and listen to you?
So all of my work is on YouTube.com. You just search up Freedom Rivers, you'll find me. I'm right there. I'm the only Freedom Rivers on YouTube, and I'm proud that I can say that. But you can also find me under Freedom Rivers on Insta, Facebook, and I believe I'm still on X as well. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll make sure you'll put all those links down in the description so that
Yes.
people can find you. Tips for aspiring DJs and radio hosts. Now that we've heard some great insight from Freedom, let's talk about how you can apply this knowledge if you're thinking about diving into the world of DJing or radio. First, build a unique sound and brand. Whether you're a DJ or a radio host, finding your niche is key. Maybe it's a specific genre of music, a unique style of mixing, or the type of events you focus on. Whatever it is, make it your own. Your personal brand is what will set you apart and attract your audience. Next, leverage technology. For DJs, mastering mixing softwares like Sorrento or Tracker is essential, along with understanding the hardware you'll be using, whether it's controllers, turntables, or mixers. For aspiring radio hosts, choosing the right platform for your show, be it traditional radio, online streaming, or podcasting, can make all the difference. And don't forget about social media. It's a powerful tool for promoting your content and engaging with your audience. Networking is also crucial. The music industry is all about relationships. Collaborate with other DJs, guest mix on radio shows, and attend industry events to make connections. Join DJ communities, both online and offline, to learn from others and gain exposure. Lastly, consistency and engagement are key. Whether you're releasing DJ sets, radio shows, or mixes, staying consistent helps build a loyal following. Keep your audience engaged by interacting with them on social media, asking for feedback, and stay updated on music trends. The more you engage, the more connected your audience will feel with your content. To wrap things up, we've explored the art of DJing, the evolution of radio, and shared some valuable tips for those of you looking to dive into these creative fields. I'd like to give a big thank you to Freedom for joining us today and sharing her incredible insights. Whether you're spinning tracks at a party, hosting a radio show, or just starting out, remember that your unique voice and style are what make your content stand out. If you find this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe to the Content Playbook, leave a review, and follow us on our social media for more insights into the world of content creation. And if you know someone that might benefit from this episode, don't hesitate to share it with them. Thanks for tuning in. I have been Riso2, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Until then, keep creating and stay inspired.